Here with Cedric Coward from Washington State. First round pick in the 2025 NBA draft, also a Duke commit. Cedric, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. Blessed. Thanks for having me.
So your story, your backstory is fascinating here because you started at Willamette University, a D3 school. You go there for a year, you transfer to a mid-major, you go to Eastern Washington, you're there 2 years, and then you transfer to Washington State this last season, high major, you play 6 games, you suffer a shoulder injury, knocks you out for the remainder of the season, and yet here you are today at the NBA Draft Combine in Chicago with a commitment to Duke. You're testing the waters in the NBA Draft, likely going to be a first-round pick, likely in the top 20. How the hell do you go from D3 4 years ago to where you are sitting here today?
Having belief and faith. I think just believing in myself, understanding that my journey is a unique one and the one that God wanted me to go through. It wasn't the quickest one, not one and done, but at the same time, it's built me up for a lot of things to handle a lot of situations I've been in, with being at D3, with the injury, all this stuff. I'm built for anything else that comes my way along this journey, but I'm super blessed. And I'm super, proud that I kept believing in myself and I had the people around me that kept believing in me. And also just keeping my faith. I think understanding that keeping the faith in what you can do and then, what the plan God has for you. And then especially for me in my situation, that keeping that allowed me to be where I'm at today.
Was there a specific moment for you, either at D3 or in high school or Eastern Washington where you kind of had that first moment where you're like, okay, I get a chance. I can be an NBA player in my future.
Yeah. When I was at Eastern Washington, my first year, the Dallas Mavericks scout had somebody come watch one of my other teammates. And honestly, after that practice, I went to the coach's office to watch film and stuff like that. And my coach brought me in. I forgot which one. It might have been Riley or Pedro. I don't know, one of the two. Brought me in. They were like, hey, man, the Mavericks, they said they liked you. And I was like, Mavericks, because I didn't even notice. I just knew there was a guy over there, but they didn't have any branding. So I was like,
was it Nico Harrison?
No. But they didn't have any branding. So I thought it was just like, a guy that came and watch practice because we had people come watch practice all the time. But they were like, nah, the Mavericks came in to watch so-and-so, but they were impressed by you and like what you did. I was like, oh, that's good. And, from there, I always had in the back of my mind, as long as I played like that, I was at least going to get looks. And then from there, putting the work in to develop my game to where I have it now. And then to keep developing as I'm going along this journey, I knew I was going to get a serious shot.
So, you start out at D3. I don't think you played AAU, right, in high school?
I didn't play on a circuit. I played AAU, but I didn't play on a circuit. So we played I played for a small hometown team, 24/7. We played in decent tournaments. I'll say that. Like, we didn't play in, the hometown Visalia or nothing like that. Like, we went to Arizona, Los Angeles, Orlando a couple times, but we weren't on a circuit, so it wasn't widely known.
So, do you think that, why do you start out at D3? Why are you not the guy who's starting out at Duke or even at Eastern Washington? Why was it D3 to start for you?
Well, I can tell you, I didn't start at Duke because I wasn't that good. I wasn't Duke material when I first came out of high school. And then, honestly, for me, I can make all these excuses of, how people didn't, push my narrative or push my agenda of what type of player I was. But honestly, like I said, it's just I didn't put in the work to match that ambition of wanting to go to Duke or wanting to go to Eastern Washington or even wanting to go to the NBA. I didn't put in the work to match that ambition. And honestly, my game wasn't developed. I was very raw. I think I put up really good numbers at D3, but I was still super raw. And when I got to Eastern, that all that raw talent developed in a really good way, but it also exposed a lot of things I wasn't good at. So from there, I had kind of my baseline on what to get better at, what to master, what I was already good at, and I honestly just keep developing my game. They always talk about getting 1% better, and I think that's a part of my journey and part of me that I'm always embracing. Always wanting to learn, always wanting to get better at anything I can, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just making sure I can elevate not only my game, but me as a person.
Now, you said you didn't have this type of work in high school or even early at D3, but did you always have kind of this mindset, this growth mindset, or is that something you developed?
For sure. And for sure. I think my grandpa was a Olympic gold medalist in track in 1976. So, and he's my best friend. So, Maxie Parks, by the way, shout out.
I was about to ask what his name is.
But
so he won an Olympic gold medal.
Yeah,
what year?
1976.
Wow.
Yeah. So
What did he compete in?
4x400 meter relay, and then individually he ran the 400 meter.
Is he who you get your athleticism from?
Yeah.
Number one person.
Yeah, shout out, Papa. I love you, man. But honestly, since I was young, and this is what I call my best friend, because like I've been with him since before I can remember, and we've spent numerous amount of times together in terms of like watching games, watching football, basketball, whatever it may be, studying sports. And that's how I think we connect really well, not only because he's my grandfather and I'm a lot like him, but honestly through the world of sports, because he's the one that taught me the world of sports and see it from a different lens. We obviously see it from like a lens of a fan, but when we talk about games, we don't talk about just like, oh my gosh, did you see all the threes Luka made or all the dunks, Paulo Banchero had or whatever. We talk about like, why didn't they call a timeout in the fourth quarter? Like, why
thinking
did
the game?
Thinking the game, And
why Dagnall foul up three when Jokic is off the floor?
Exactly. So understand, like, that's what the stuff we talk about. And him being at the top of the world in his individual sport, he's always set that mindset in me of understanding, like, this is what you have to do to be in the top of your sport. Now, when I say I didn't put the work in, I don't mean like I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't just showing up for practicing games. Like I would go and shoot and different stuff like that. I think I would, stay after practice a little bit. Like I think I worked harder than the average high schooler. But at the same time, from what I do now, not even close.
It's like obsession now?
Yeah, now it's an obsession. Like now I understand how much basketball can change my life. And it's not even the money part. I don't even like that has a big factor in terms of taking care of my family, but it's not the money part that's the obsession for me. The obsession for me is the building relationships and the getting better at something you love.
Like the feeling of improvement,
exactly.
That type of thing.
Like, I mean, I'm in this space with the best players of my age in the world. You know what I mean? And I have a chance to go in the best players in the world ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think just striving for that, always having a goal to strive for, always having a dream to complete, that's the biggest thing for me.
I mean, like kind of what you're describing, it's such a similar theme of like high achievers. Like I asked years ago, I remember Floyd Mayweather was at a Celtics game, and I people were asking him questions as he's walking out of the arena. I asked him, what are the qualities you recognize in people who become the best in their craft? He's like, never becoming complacent. I asked James Harden about that. He's like, having a vision for what it is you want to be. And it sounds like the way you're describing it is once you kind of had that vision, that's when you knew how to work for it. That's when you knew how to chase it. But until you have that, it's hard to really know what you're working for and how to do it. Is that accurate to say?
Exactly. Like I said, I want to do it for more than just me. I want to do it for myself in terms of that ambition and that vision I have for myself. I also want to do it for the people that sacrifice for me. Like I'm not here by myself. I didn't, sign myself up for AAU. I definitely didn't pay for it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like my mom, my dad, my grandma, grandpa, like all of them have sacrificed tremendous amounts of time, money, emotions, stuff like that. And anything you can think of, they sacrificed it for me to be where I'm at now and to keep going. And then honestly, like I speak about my grandfather, like he won a gold medal. And if you know gold medalists now, most of them are living lavish lifestyle. Yeah. And he's living a good
influencers.
Yeah, and he's living a great life. But at the same time, I think he could definitely be in that lavish lifestyle that he deserves for the accomplishment he had. Like if you win a gold medal, you should be living, in a mansion. Stereotypically, you should be living in a mansion, never working a day in your life. Now, like with my grandfather, he lives, in Fresno, California, and that's like the home everybody goes to. So he's the staple of our family. That house is. But honestly, he still works. So for me, I see that every day.
How old is he?
He's 70, I think 75,
wow,
turning 76. Yeah. But he still works. And for somebody like me seeing that you were once at the top of your sport, you deserve to be that guy that all you got to do is wake up and go fishing. And that's the type of lifestyle I want to give him.
Is that what you like to do with him? Fishing when you were growing up?
Fishing, talking, just anything really, just spending time. I think when we just spend time together, like we talk a lot, over the phone, in person. When I go back home, I usually stay at their house. You know what I mean? So doing all that stuff, like we spend a lot of time together.
Now, you measure at the combine this week, 6'5" and a quarter height, no shoes, 7'2" and a quarter wingspan, +9 difference, one of the biggest. I think Rasheer Fleming as well was a +9 difference, 8-10, 8-1 standing reach. Those are your measurements. We know you can shoot. You shot 40% in the last 3 years in college, shot 68% in the shooting star drill that they do with the draft combine. But how would you describe your overall basketball game to somebody that's never watched you play?
Versatile, jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife, whatever term you want to use for all around, and just overall winner. I think a lot of people, when they see me play for the first time, understand the amount of versatility I have on the court. When you watch me play, you can't look at him and be like, okay, well, he plays offense but not defense, because that's not what I predicate my game off. He plays defense but doesn't rebound. Like, I don't think you can look at one area of my game but he doesn't do that, like, at all, you know? And I got to work on everything. When you talk about what I can get better at, everything. You can always master and perfect everything. Like you said, that goes to striving for greatness. But at the end of the day, when I describe my game to people, and what separates me is the sure will and kind of dog mentality I have, and being able to be all around.
I mean, I think with your versatility, one of the things that's interesting to me is, like I said, you shot 68%, one of the best marks of the day on today's Tuesday at the draft combine. We know you can shoot. We saw you do that at Washington State. We saw you do that at Eastern Washington. But the post game, you shot 68% out of the post. Your last year at Eastern Washington, small sample last year at Washington State, you were 8 of 9 from the post as well. You're 6'6", roughly with shoes, 6'7" with shoes. Have you always had kind of a low post game, or is that something that your college coaches wanted to get out of you?
I mean, not really. I think like a little bit, because my favorite player of all time is Kobe. And, Kobe had the post game.
Of course.
But Kobe...
You've clearly practiced that fade away a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's where it comes from. But I didn't really like add it to my game until I got to Eastern Washington, because Coach Riley, like, the way their offense runs, we predicate on hunting mismatches. And for me, when I first got to Eastern Washington, I wasn't a guard. I was more of a forward, plug-in guy. You know what I mean? Like, I played a lot bigger than what I was. I can say that.
Yeah.
But
you rebound too.
Yeah. But
6-7 rebounds a game?
Something like that.
You a couple? I don't know.
I don't know, something like that. But I played more of a big man role, quote unquote, more of a 4 role my first year at Eastern. So when I was working out, I was up there with the bigs. I was bruising the whole time. So it taught me how to, use finesse in the post, also use physicality. So now when I go up against the guards, especially people smaller than me, it's I'm not gonna say easy, but it is easy in a way,
Sure. Playing against a smaller guy.
Yeah, just playing against a smaller guy. I think
that's an interesting thing for the NBA, with as much as screens are switched, if you do indeed become one of those guys teams lean on to get a bucket, if teams are switching screens, you could back somebody down.
Exactly.
You're not just a shooter, not just a pull-up face-up guy either.
Yeah, I mean, especially like, say you go against Jose Alvarado, one of the best on-ball defenders in the league, smaller guy. I'm not going to try to beat him with quickness. I'm going to try to beat him with physicality. Obviously, I got to watch, he'll take charges and all that stuff. But if I can protect the ball while at the same time being in an attack position like you are in the post, then that's beneficial to me. Like, you talk about playing in the post, like Jalen Brunson plays in the post all the time. And Jalen Brunson is 6'2". But his post game is great and it's super effective because that's something he added to his game. I think that's a real level of like a 3-level score, being able to shoot the 3, finish at the rim. And then I don't know if you would predicate the post game as more of a mid-range type, but that's possible. You know what I mean? So for me, you can bully, finish right at the rim. You can hit fades both over right and left shoulder. You can add in pump fakes, pivots, a whole lot of stuff that's possible out of that post-up game. I think that's just like another version of triple threat in a way.
You mentioned that you practiced with bigs. You were more of a big forward at Eastern Washington. One of the things I'm interested about, like when you just look at your basic numbers, as a sophomore, you averaged 1.8 attempts per 48 minutes from 3. Then you went up to 5.4 your next year, and then 6.1 the following year after that with Washington State.
Yeah.
Your free throw percentage, 74% your sophomore year, then 88% since then. Did something click for you as a shooter for your volume to go up from both the line and from 3, or was this like just merely role in what they were asking for you?
Both. I think my first year at Eastern, I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to be the guy shooting 6 threes a game, And honestly, I probably wasn't that capable of I was capable of shooting them. Was I capable of making them like I did
have a high
now?
percentage.
Yeah, but very low volume. But very low volume, you know. And I think my first year at Eastern, like we had the 3 guys we needed at the 3 positions we needed. Like we had Tyrese, who was a big guard, Steele, great shooter, big 6'7", and Jello, who's playing overseas in Germany right now. Shout out to all 3 of those guys. But they all filled those roles of being the main guys, you know, and very well deserving. And so I just fit in where I could play, you know what I mean? So I think my next year after that year, my next year during that spring and summer, I told Pedro and Coach Riley, like, look, I don't want you guys to bring in anybody to replace those guys. Like, I can do this. And they told me, like, all right, we believe you, but this is the work you're going to have to put in to do it. And so me and Pedro every day, like 2 times a day, every day, was just putting in work to do that. And it was a struggle at first. It was like, because it's stuff I've never done before. I'm learning to play on the ball, learning to come off ball screens. I'm learning to do all this stuff. And especially when it comes to the shooting piece, like I'm taking thousands of shots a week, like thousands upon thousands of shots a week. And like I missing more than I'm making because it's just I haven't done it. But at the end of the day, as that work was getting put in, I was starting to make them. I was starting to refine my jump shot. I was starting to, you know, refine different things in my game that helped me gain an advantage over the opposer. So for me, when it comes to shooting, I'm still learning great ways to get my jumper off. Like I learned earlier, not this month, but last month when I came out here, like hand placement on the ball before the ball even gets there, making sure your hand is low, your wrist is loaded and back, stuff like that. And it's helped my jumper get faster, more consistent, stuff like that, you know. So I'm always willing to learn. And like you said, it's just the work and the role they wanted me to get in and the role I wanted myself to have. And then obviously it's paid off so far.
So it's a little bit of both there. Well, what are you working on right now then? You mentioned the hand placement with receiving the ball, even before receiving the ball to improve your quickness. But like, what is there something you're working on right now specifically? A certain move, something in your game? Everything,
honestly. But I say the biggest thing is my handle. I think a lot of people say I can't dribble the ball, and it kind of urges me in a way.
Economical with your movements is the way I describe it. You're not like Kyrie Irving, break it down ball with the ball on a string, but you're. I mean, like I hate even saying the name, but it's like Kawhi. Like in terms of 7'2" wingspan, you're long as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
You're very economical with your movements.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just making sure people understand, like, I can be that primary to secondary ball handler. I'm capable of that.
Primary to secondary. I feel like you.
It depends where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like obviously, if I'm on the Thunder, you know, Shea's the primary ball handler. I'm not gonna take that responsibility from him. Now, if I'm on, I don't know, say the Heat, you know, and Tyler Hero has to play off the ball at the time, like I can be that secondary ball handler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That turns the primary. But for me, it's just making people understand, like, just because it's not a strength, like a super strength of mine, doesn't mean I'm not capable of doing it. Like, do I have work to do? Absolutely. Am I putting in the work to do it? Yes. Now, when people just go out and say, like, I can't dribble, now that's what upsets me because you don't understand the work I'm putting in to do so.
Like teams or scouts have said, or something you just read online?
No, it's something I got sent a minute ago, and you know, I'm not gonna say who said it, but somebody said that I couldn't dribble, and it just, you know, it's just fuel to the fire, really.
Just prove them wrong.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Are, right?
I don't mind it. You know, at the end of the day, that's your opinion, and you know, I'm just here to prove people wrong.
I mean, the funny thing is with you, like you said, last year you played 6 games. You didn't play a lot, but I felt like you really had an opportunity in those 6 games to show your passing, your playmaking ability. I would expect that would have been part of your role throughout the year. And what impresses me is like you put good zip on the ball, you pass the ball accurately off the dribble, and even within just the flow of the offense, you keep it moving. Yeah. Like you understand your role.
Yeah.
And I think as the handle improves, I have you 14 on my board right now. And like part of me wants to put you like top 10-ish, somewhere higher, because like there's a foundation with your game. We know you can defend. We know you're versatile. We know you work hard. You can see the emotion you play with, rooting for your teammates. Like you bring intensity to the floor. We know you can shoot the hell out of it. We know you can attack a closeout, do these minimum things and make the right pass. But like the handle, when you see your flashes from mid-range and you see the way you pass the ball, whether it's out of the post or on some of those driving kicks, it's like, maybe there is like more primary and like less secondary down the line with this guy.
Yeah, I think, you know, it kind of sucks I played 6 games because I think as the final 2 games right before I got hurt, I was getting super comfortable because like a lot of that has to do with comfort too. Like how comfortable are you in terms of this role? How comfortable are you being that primary guy? And for me, I was just getting to that point where I was like, it started clicking. I can say that, and I wish I would have been able to show more, like you said. But when it comes to like the playmaking and all that, I think one of the biggest knocks I've had for myself through my career is like my assist to turnover ratio has been abysmal. I can say that. And for me, that's the one area of my game when I look at it, I'm like, I'm way better than that, and I'm just basing this off the Eastern Washington film. But for me this year, in the short sample size I had a pretty decent assist to turnover ratio. And I think it would have gotten a lot better as the year would have went on. But at the same time, a lot of that stuff has to do with comfort. But most of it is just the work. You just got to put in the work for it. Like that's a big thing to address. Like you said, like I'm not saying I'm not a Kyrie. Nobody is. Kyrie is Kyrie for a reason. Now, will I settle for a Kawhi right now? Yeah, I'm cool with that. Kawhi is real methodical, like you said, and he can get to where he needs to get to. But I think I'm capable of more of that too.
Who would you compare yourself to? Like, what's your best NBA comp?
My best NBA comp, probably Kawhi or Jalen Williams from the Thunder.
Those are 2 good ones.
Yeah, J-Dub. Seeing him play in person was actually like I saw my game in him a lot. A guy that just brings ultimate intensity, has that role. Like when Shai's off the floor, he's the one. You know what I mean? Like, and being able to stretch the floor, 3-level scorer, play defense, locks up guys, and then honestly being able to play off the ball too. Like when Shai's off the floor or on the floor, he's able to be that guy coming off of screens. He's still getting his in a way, but he does whatever he needs to do to help the team. And he plays with that fire and that intensity. I think that us mid-major guys got. He went to Santa Clara. Yeah. Me at Eastern and then Washington State. I know you called them a high major, but we were in the WCC, so I don't know if you would say mid-major or not. Mm-hmm. But honestly, just that fire those type of guys play with, I resemble a lot to that. And then, like you said, the Kawhi thing, I think a lot of people have compared me to Kawhi just with the length and body type.
Living in the NBA? Have you heard that from NBA teams you've talked to?
Yes, I have. And then just like a lot of, NBA, a lot of scouts, a lot of people. But obviously I got a little more work to do muscle-wise to get to Kawhi. Yeah. But
dude's ripped.
Yeah,
the more man gets paid, you have that on your side
too,
right?
But at the end of the day, like Kawhi, top 10 player in our game, easily.
Yeah. When healthy, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, easily.
I mean, as we saw, I think this year with the Clippers, it's he had a 39-point banger of a performance. I wish you were able to replicate, but at his age, it's a bit harder to do.
Yeah,
I think those are good comps, though. I mean, I think OG Anunoby is kind of another one, like a slightly lesser version of Kawhi is another one for you, but he's like a different type of player. What 2K rating would you give yourself entering your rookie season?
At this moment? See, I don't play a lot of 2K, so I really don't know like how that scale is.
All the ratings are too high. It's like 60 to 99.
Yeah. I wouldn't give myself no 60. 75. 75.
I think that's fair.
I think it's 75 is good.
They'll probably put you at like a 71, 72.
Yeah, something like that. But the thing is, there's always room to grow. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me, you start at 71 or 75 or wherever it may be. If they put me in the 60s, it's room to grow to that 99. You know what I mean? So
if you could download a specific move, like a trademark move that a player has and install it into your own game, what would it be?
Ooh, that's tough. Trademark move. I'm not gonna lie. Probably the Luka step back. I think Luka shoots that probably 12 times a game. And his percentage is so high on that. And he don't need a lot of space to get it off. Either that or LeBron's look at the ball 3. He barely misses that shot. But honestly, probably Luka shot, or like a Kobe patent fadeaway, something like that. But those are 2 great shots from guys that shoot high percentages, and you can tell they work on them.
You mentioned 2 Lakers. You grew up in Fresno, California. Family of Laker fans, I believe, correct?
Absolutely.
How'd you react earlier this year? You're not a Lakers fan now, but how'd you react earlier this year when you get the notification that the Lakers trade for Luka?
We actually just played University of San Francisco. And I'm in the locker room. I look at my phone, and I thought it was a joke. And so I'm looking at it, and my friends text me in our group chat. They're like, bro, Luka to the Lakers. I was like, all right, bro, stop messing around. Then I go to ESPN, and I see it's true. And because I was like, yo. And I was the first one on my team to know. So I went around to all my teammates. I was like, hey, man, Luka just to the Lakers for AD. And I got a coach on my team that's also a Laker fan. So I went to him. He looks at me and goes, what? And so we were all shocked. It was more shocking than anything because, I think a lot of the world, Luka's the last person you thought would get traded, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and I'm glad he's on the Lakers. You know what I mean? The fan in me and the fan in my family is glad he's on the Lakers. But at the same time, I'm getting to a space where I'm potentially, if I don't go to the Lakers, I'm gonna have to guard him, and from there, it ain't no fan. It's we neck to neck. You know what I mean? So
your whole family's Laker fans. You're from Fresno. Any regrets you didn't become a Warriors fan with all their success this last decade?
Nah, because I wasn't born in the time the Warriors were good. I was 10 years old in 2013 when Steph popped off in the Garden. I think it was 2013. But for me, I got a lot. It's funny because I got a lot of my family that also transitioned from Laker fans to Warrior fans because during the time the Lakers weren't good, the Warriors were good, and they were like, so we're Warriors fans now. So I'm like, at the end of the day, I like the Warriors. I like the way they play, and especially the way they change the game in a way, with just their ability to shoot the ball and really have Draymond be the point forward and Steph come out the ball and all that stuff. But for me, I'm not really concerned with being a Warriors fan, Kings fan, Clippers fan, none of that stuff. So.
At this point, you're not a fan of anybody.
Yeah,
you're a fan of whoever you get drafted.
Yeah, exactly.
By, right? I mean, it's you mentioned the Warriors. It's kind of sad, how much this second round has been defined by injuries. Yeah. Steph with a hamstring injury, Tatum. We just found out today
tore his Achilles.
It's horrible news. And Cavs have had some injuries. Though I think the Pacers probably would win that series anyway. Nuggets Thunder. That's been amazing series as well, but a lot of injuries this round as well. But overall, the playoffs I think have been awesome.
Yeah.
What have been your main takeaways watching the postseason so far?
One, the healthiest teams win. I can tell you that. What happened to Steph was kind of in a way catastrophic. Nobody expected that to happen, and it kind of sucks too. Because I've dealt with strains in my calves before, and I understand how serious that is. A lot of people think it's not that serious, but it's serious. But honestly, it's been the best playoffs we've seen in a while. I think the last time we seen this type of competitiveness and just pure dog in a lot of teams was the bubble, in my opinion. The bubble was just pure hoops. Obviously you didn't have the fans and stuff there, but now it's kind of the same thing with all the atmosphere, And my biggest takeaway so far has just been how physical it's been. It's been so physical. And that's the way I like to play, and that's the way that's how I grew up playing. You wasn't calling no foul unless it was blatant. You wasn't calling no fouls. If you got hit in the arm, nah, check up, let's go. Next, other person's ball, you missed the shot. That's how it is, and that's how I grew up. And the people around me treated me they didn't treat me like a little kid playing basketball. They treated me look, if you're gonna play basketball with grown men, we're gonna treat you like a grown man. So
I think it's beautiful. I think it's the best basketball I've seen in years, man. Letting them play physical like this. It's I understand how people push back and say, well, you can't change the rules. You can't have one way during the full regular season and then have it this way in the postseason. I'm I don't know. I like it. I'm cool with it.
It's bringing that oomph back to it. I think, I don't know if you remember the All-Star game. I think it was in Toronto. I think, do you remember the All-Star game where they were going neck,
the first one with the target score ending?
Yeah.
It was a great
or it might have been in Chicago, or something like that. But they were they were taking charges and everything, like that type of intensity. You got the best players in the world on the best teams in the world going at it for one common goal, and playing their hearts out to do it. I think that's the best thing in the world, like you said.
I know it absolutely is the best. That's what we got right now. It's what we got right now. And I think regardless of who advances, it's going to be some great matchups moving forward. What's been the most memorable moment so far in your career playing basketball?
Okay, I have two. So actually playing basketball is when we won the championship at Eastern Washington my first year. Because going to a squad and really contributing to a winning squad, I think was great. You know, it taught me how to react, how to be in those moments to win championships. And the guys, you know, that we had on that team, that was a special team, man. Like, shout out to everybody on that team because that was a special group of guys. You know, obviously we didn't end how we wanted to end. At the same time, that was probably one of the best teams I've been on. And then my second moment is when I was younger. I remember I actually got a technical in a game because I slammed the ball on the ground and went above my head. And I don't know what I did it for. I was just, you know, being a dumb kid. But I did it and I got kicked out the game. And I didn't know, you know, but I got kicked out the game, had to sit the rest of the time. My team lost. And my mom took me straight to my grandpa's house. And I thought I was going to get whooped. You know, I thought I was going to be in like real trouble. And I was in trouble, but it wasn't for the reason I thought. Like, my quote unquote punishment wasn't a punishment. It was a lesson. He taught me for where you are and the type of player you want to be. You want to be that main guy. You can't act like this. You have to have your head on your shoulders at all times. You have to be the guy to be calm, consistent, and not care about what else goes on, you know, outside of what you can control. The only thing you can control is how you respond, how you react to different things. And for that's always stuck with me. And I think that happened when I was like 8, you know, and I'm 21 now. And that's always stuck with me as I've moved on with my career, knowing that the type of player I want to be, I have to sacrifice my ego, emotions, and all that stuff in order to show examples or to just get the best out of myself in something.
Was your grandpa the first person who kind of introduced basketball to you?
I believe so. I think if he did introduce basketball to me, thank you. But I think I would have gravitated towards sports regardless because I was just like, ever since I can remember, I always had something in my hand, a ball, a bat, or something. I don't know, something like, you know, I was always watching TV.
Sports too, when you were young?
Yeah, especially like I played football. So I played basketball and football growing up, but I always had just like that energy. Like my mom has this story of me, like when I was young, I would run in the house and I'd like run in the walls, you know, because I was just so energetic. Like she would be like, go speed racer, go, you know, and I'm just running all around the house as fast as I can. And the only way I stopped was running in the walls. And like, I didn't care, you know, because I just had that energy as a kid. And I think playing sports was one way to relieve it in a positive way. And then from there, I just fell in love with it at that time.
I want to ask you 7 quick hitter questions, 7 rapid fire questions, Cedric. 7 random questions.
7 random questions.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
Invisibility.
Oh, actually, I lied. Sorry. Teleportation.
Teleportation. Okay. Why is that?
Just anywhere at any time. I don't got to take no flights. But man, teleportation would be great.
Show up
right after this. I'd teleport to Fresno, hang out with my family real quick, teleport back.
Come right back.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That'd be a pretty amazing ability to have. What's your weirdest habit?
Ooh. I don't know if this is weird. And the only reason I say that because like it's not weird in my house, but I'm a freak cleaner on one day a week. Like if I'm cleaning something, I have to clean everything. I can't just clean, you know, like I just can't make the bed. Like I have to clean, sweep, mop. I have to do everything. But that's only like once a week. Like I'm not like I need to clean every day type of guy. But
what's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, people chewing with their mouth open.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, I can't stand it.
Bad manners?
Nah, I can't. Like, that was, my dad taught me that when I was young. Like, don't chew with your mouth open.
Like, finger looking good. Is that not allowed?
No, the only situation you can chew with your mouth open is if you can't physically breathe out of your nose. Because I actually encountered that one time with one of my old teammates when I was young. Because I told him, I was like, hey, man.
Deviated septum and both.
I don't know, something. But I literally looked at him.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. But I looked at him.
Excuse for eating sloppy.
I have no clue. But all I know is I asked him, I was like, hey, man, I'm sorry, but can you like chew with your mouth closed? It's just weirding me out. And then his mom was like, sorry, he can't breathe out of his nose. I was like, oh, my bad. You know what I mean? Like, you're good, bro. I was like, you're good.
Sounds like his mother making excuses for him.
Hey, if she was, then she was. But you know, I'm not gonna argue with moms. You
know? Question number 4. What's some music you like that might surprise people?
I like old soul music, like Luther Vandross, Never Too Much. I did a mixtape to that song on my Instagram, which is cool.
Oh, wow.
I like like Return to the Mac, Mr. Telephone Man, like a lot of older songs. Like now we're in such like a rap heavy, era. For me, I like a lot of older songs, like smoother songs.
Do you know this guy on my shirt, David Gilmour?
No.
Guitarist from Pink Floyd. Do you know any Pink Floyd?
Mm-mm.
No.
Honestly, I don't know a lot of artists. I just like the song.
You're one of those.
I'm more of if I hear the song,
but not the artist.
Exactly. If I hear the song and like I just like it, I'll add it to the playlist. Like it don't matter what artist it is from or none of that stuff.
Your team needs a stop. You're on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the 4 teammates you're drafting to get that stop?
Do I have to play with them?
Yeah, you're on the floor.
Yeah.
Cedric
No. In terms of like, did I have to play with them for me to draft? Oh, okay.
It could be anybody, NBA, historically, alive, dead, anybody.
Okay. Wemby. Jaden McDaniels. Kawhi. Myself.
A lot of length and versatility there.
Oh, Dyson Daniels.
Okay, that's a good group.
That's
a good group. A lot of modern players.
Mm-hmm. I also had to, because even though we need to stop, and if we get back on offense, we need need to score the rock too.
That's a good group there. Yeah. Number 6. What do you do besides basketball? What do you like to do when you're not hooping?
I like to play video games, and most of the time I play video games honestly to just talk to my friends. Back home. I play Madden. Okay. Madden and college football. Actually, shout out to my friends. I'm the best in college football. Y'all can't beat me. They know who they are. But I play a lot of football games. Like I play basketball, so I can't play 2K. It's unrealistic to me. But like, do I enjoy 2K here and then when my friends and I are playing it? Yeah. But like, when you got 5'9" guards in the game, dominating the game, and then in real life, a 6'6" guard is the one dominating, like that's not real to me. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But yeah, I play a lot of football games, and I like to cook and bake too.
Okay.
Yeah, my girlfriend's a big baker. Her and her mom are big bakers. So I honestly started baking to kind of like understand that world. And
What's
then
your specialty? Your number 1.
Cookies.
Cookies.
Yeah, I make red velvet cookies. You can ask any of my Washington State teammates. Like my red velvet cookies are a hot commodity.
People look forward to them when you brought them in, right?
Exactly. But
you get excited just mocking when you walk in the locker room.
Yeah, I had to stop making them though because dudes was, one, I was getting begged too much to make them, but also we got to win games. You can't be eating cookies all the time, like you said. But at the same time, like whenever I do make them, they are a hot commodity. I can say that. But really just to like understand their world a little more, and then I ended up finding like it's enjoyable. Like it's actually enjoyable. When you make something from scratch or you make something like that, you cooking, like figuring out something from like all these ingredients and having a finished product. Not only does it taste good, but it feels good to get something done. It kind of relates
to that feeling we were talking about earlier with the feeling of improvement.
Yeah, exactly.
And seeing yourself get better at something and learn something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of that similar type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Last question here, Cedric. Number 7. What do you love about basketball the most?
Basketball is the one thing I cannot live without. I think basketball and family are the 2 things I can't live without. And, my mom has this analogy for me and my sister, her 2 children. We're each a half of her heart. When me and my sister and my mom are all together, her heart is full. For me, basketball is one half, my family's another, and if you take away basketball, I only have half a heart the rest of my life. And that's just the analogy I'm using. But if you add that, as I have my family and the people in my corner, I got a full heart. I've had an experience, one summer where I didn't play basketball. I didn't play AAU. I didn't pick up a ball for months, And
what was that?
Just because I think I just wasn't getting. I don't know if I really loved the game at that point.
And in high school?
This was my sophomore going into junior year of high school, and I was supposed to be playing AAU, but I didn't. And it wasn't that I didn't love the game; I just didn't love the situation I was in at the moment. And I realized that after the summer, because that summer I helped my grandpa build a house, and from that I realized 1, that building a house is super hard. And 2, I appreciate everything my grandpa taught me in terms of like having all the skills to do that. But I told myself, like said, you can deal with it. Like, no offense to any construction workers, that's a great career if you want to do it. You know what I mean? It's just not for me. And understanding like if I could do something I love and play basketball, I'll be able to handle anything. So this, like I said, I wasn't happy with the situation. I was like, said, I'd rather deal with that than have to do this every single day in a hot beaming sun. And then from there, just I realized how much I loved the game of basketball and how much of what I was doing was going to determine what spot I was in for it, you know? And from there on out, I've been playing basketball every year, every summer, everything for the rest of my life.
Hey, man, long future ahead for you, Cedric.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Here in Chicago at the NBA Draft Combine, got a bright future ahead of you, man.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you joining
Thank
me
you.
today.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me.